Facebook. And they say, hey, what do you think about the euro? Where's it? Is it going up or down from here? I'm thinking to myself, well, how am I supposed to know? I have no clue whether the market's going to go up or down. What I can tell you is if it gets up to that 127 extension with a 618 retracement at previous structure, that I have a high likelihood that the market's going to find resistance there. That I've created that is a zone where the market is likely to see a retracement. Right? That I know. It's the same thing with the advanced pattern formation. You're anticipating the market to roll into a D completion, and someone says, well, why don't you just buy on the way up to D? It's like, well, the reason we don't buy is because I don't know whether the pattern is going to complete. I know the pattern is profitable, but man, you don't know how many patterns we look at every single day that never end up completing. And we sure don't want to be in a situation where we're taking low probability trades in anticipation that we're going to get a high probability trade.
Well, you know what I did when I first started trading, the ABCD pattern was the first pattern I felt comfortable with. It was pretty easy. I'd find an impulse leg, copy and paste it, drag it onto the retracement, and I was an aggressive seller and buyer on every ABCD pattern, meaning I would predict the level. I would say ABCD pattern is going to complete here. I put a limit order there, and I either sell or buy it. And I got eaten alive. I didn't wait for any type of confirmation. I just said, hey, this is where the ABCD pattern is going to complete. The market has to automatically reverse. And I got eaten alive. I lost so much money doing that.
Well, that's why, and again, I harp back on the fact that, it's the combination of things that you're doing that really creates the competitive advantage, that really creates the edge, because a lot what we tend to do is we learn something new, and then we want to take that out, so we learn a little bit about fibs, and that's one of the reasons we've taken so much time here to kind of walk through the steps involved, because if all you're doing is pulling a Fibonacci retracement out there, and you're saying, okay, I'm going to buy every 382 retracement, well, you can, just go flush your money down the toilet. Go burn it in your fireplace, because at least you'll get some heat, some use out of that cash. Because you are going to absolutely just annihilate your account quicker than anything by just buying or selling every 382 retracement. Because that's not the proper way to employ fibs. And it's the same thing with, like you said, an ABCD market harmonics. If you take a look at every single ABCD pattern and then just buy or sell every one of them without considering structure, without considering stops and targets and all of those types of things, well then, you're just asking to get beat up.
I see the question, why wouldn't you enter the euro yen if it reached the 618 fib? I never said I wouldn't. It all depends on what the market is. The market going to give me something that falls into my trading plan? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to get up there. If it gets up there, I don't know if the market's going to give me an entry technique.
Are you going to get any double tops in there? Are you going to get any candle signal to give you an indication that a reversal is coming? What's inside of your trading plan? At this point, we can literally build in multiple scenarios where we could make entry, and multiple scenarios that we can test to see how effective that they are. But Akil's absolutely right. At this stage, you're really waiting. You're saying, well, okay, I've just ID'd a zone, and if the market moves into that zone, then I want to be paying special attention, because I know that there's a statistical probability that the market's going to come back down. What if something is at all-time highs and there is no structure? Jason, that's a good question. That makes it very, very hard to trade based off structure. If you have no structure, and what was a great example of that? Can anybody think of a great example of when that occurred most recently? Tesla, okay, fair enough, Tesla. Gold, no, not gold. Euro yen, how about dollar yen? How about dollar yen? The huge rally that we saw in the euro yen, I'm sorry, in the dollar yen, spiked all the way up, no structure, nothing to really pinpoint anything on. And when I looked at that chart, you know what I said? I said, for me, this chart is untradeable. Okay? I cannot trade this because I have no structure. There's nothing that I can build a case for entry on this chart, so I leave this one alone. And one of the beautiful things about Forex is there's only about 20 other currency pairs that you could be trading. You just roll over. I'll trade something different.